Yeah, as you say, new day, totally new tournament. We've had a fair amount of success over the last couple of tournaments, and we'd like to, better that. And perhaps expectation is there, at least from back home, to really do well. So starting off well is obviously first goal. We had some good success actually against Oman the other day, so winning that series 3-2. So coming into that game with pretty much, a good idea, good information that we have, and good confidence.
Go ahead, Jason.
Gerhard, okay. First time we have 20 teams in the World 20, certainly allowing more presence from the associate nations. How important do you see it to the associate nations to make an impact in this?
Yeah, the associates have long been sort of knocking on the door, and they've had probably mixed success, but good successes over the past, and they've given, at least in white ball cricket, they've given many Test nations a good run, and I think continuously the gap keeps on closing. That's due to many reasons, due to just more players in the associate world from different countries, but also just more exposure. And I think with that exposure comes a different skill set and different mindset that it's not that big a novelty anymore to play against that high level guys who play in professional setups all year long. The gap definitely is closing, and as one of the voices of associate cricket, you always try and boost associate cricket. You got to step up on the field actually, and do their work there, rather than trying to urge for more opportunities. You got to show why you want them.
How you found your conditions so far? Having this come in a couple of days?
Yeah, very nice. We've been here for a fair while now, so St. Kitts was good. Trinidad was very good. So different to what we're used to with humidity and stuff, but we pride ourselves in good fitness and good standards, and get to get used to a bit of, get acclimatized to perhaps only the humidity and the type of sweatiness, and perhaps on and off showers, that type of thing.
And what are you guys expecting tournament-wise? Are you going to say like they'll start a big score, or are they going to be a low one?
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be one of the playouts of this tournament, is how that's going to work out for betting sides. They're probably going to have to decide what sort of risk factor they take on. Obviously, with the ruling in the IPL, with the extra batter, the impact batter, it makes it frees it up a little bit. So, yeah, my early shout is that the scores might not be that big. One, probably because of conditions. Two, also because of that ruling. And three, also just because of the consequence of tournament cricket. And being from a associate country, we're not, unfamiliar with pressures of playing consequence cricket and consequence tournaments like that. It's pretty cutthroat at the associate level, where most of your games are basically for livelihoods or for qualifying, for moving up in tiers or down in tiers. So tournament type of cricket usually suits the associate nations. They got only something to gain in the highest sort of ranks of white ball tournaments, like the 50 World Cup and the T20 World Cup. So, yeah, that type of pressure and consequence on the games, it would be interesting to see how other teams, especially teams that go really hard up top, we saw the likes of Oman in their series as well, really coming out in the power play and swinging. So it'll be interesting to see how everyone goes about it. And I guess it's just a risk factor that you decide to take on as a team. Yeah, pretty hard game, to be fair, for us. So, as I said earlier, just the exposure and the level of cricket that you get exposed to when facing the likes of Josh and good spinners like Zams and all of those guys that continuously play so many games, so many white ball games through the year. That's where you benchmark yourself on as an associate nation. You want to be playing lots of cricket, you want to be playing against the best. And lots of the guys have gotten a feel of that over the years. Unfortunately, it doesn't come around enough for the associate teams, and they're not sort of exposed to that year round. So making that jump up in tournament and making it very quickly is what's really challenging but cool at the same time. So with our previous tournament, we've had that exposure in the first, like in our first World Cup with Sri Lanka, got beaten badly, but then had a great tournament. So just to up at that level from the start and sort of, I guess, break the duck from the start and get onto that level is what's probably more valuable than getting thrashed in the World Cup game like that. So still lots to take out of that top again. Yeah. I don't really say overawed, but I just say the skill exposure and the level of skill. Although it's closing, as I said, the exposure is far and wide. It's every second year that you get to play against the world's best, and every now and again, some of us get an opportunity in the franchise world and get to play against the English boys, the Australian boys, and all the best cricketers of T20 cricket in the world. And you sort of try and close that skill gap all the time. But because it's far and wide and you struggle to get fixtures against the world's best, it often is quite a struggle to just come to the tournament and sort of expect yourself to be on that level already. And you can see sparks in between of being able to compete at that level. It's about putting it all together on the day, playing your best game. We did that in Australia against Sri Lanka and got a considerably good result. So it's there. It's how you get it out of the fights there. How you get it out of the Lions, I guess. Yeah, I think so. With 2 tournaments behind our back, lots of guys playing around the world. There's not that feeling of being overwhelmed anymore. It's not that feeling of not belonging, stepping on the field with a bunch of aliens or something like that. It's more a feeling of stepping over the line against your peers. And although they're constantly playing high-level cricket, you've got it in you to also compete at that level. So yeah, I won't be stepping back to any of the higher test nations, so-called test nations. It's white ball cricket. They'll also know it's white ball cricket, so I'll try and combat that and prepare very well. I don't see any of the test nations these days, seeing any of the associate nations off lightly. They'll do analysis, they'll do proper planning against all of our batters. That's going to be very good exposure for us again, and only really something to gain that frees us up a little bit and perhaps tightens them up at the back end of the tournament. So I think our fixture run is also reasonable and kind to us, so suits us in a sense. Yeah.
We have chosen guys, maybe people develop this one.
Yeah, we've got a younger squad this year, which is exciting in itself. We've had a few guys sort of the last 2 years going into professional jobs, had an injury or two, and have had a discipline issue or two. So we've had the likes of Jack Russell from the 19s coming through into the squad. Dylan Lacher is a young guy who's played more than 5 caps or so. So those types of names are very exciting to see. But also exciting was to see guys who've maybe been around the fold for quite a while, but they probably haven't made that extra step up. Just perhaps you could do their roles being a little bit more reserved sometimes, and it's nice to see those guys also unlocking their talent. So the likes of Zane Green, the type of players, really, as a captain, I'm looking forward to see if some of the more of those players in our squad that have been members for a long time and can maybe make that step up in this tournament.
Thanks, Captain.
Thank you, guys.